Well, thank you both for being up here. Pei-Ju, I want to thank you specifically because you came in on Wednesday, and we are, as soon as this Q&A is over, we're going straight back to the airport so you can go back to Taipei, where a short film of yours is premiering on Sunday. So a lot going on. So we'll keep this. I have a few questions, and we'll turn it right over to the audience. So, first of all, I love the ending to this film because I wanted a happy ending for all of these characters, but it ended up more bittersweet. There's a little touch of gray in that ending. So I probably should start at the beginning, but I want to ask you about that ending. How did you want it to end up for these characters? Because we come to know them so well, but at a certain point, we know it's not going to be a happy ending for them. It's going to be something a little ambiguous. How did you come to this ending, or how do you feel about the ending of the film? Oh, I suppose, and she can. Oh yeah, That's right. You'll translate her. Got it. Got it. Got
嗯，我想要，因为我希望这个结局是有希望的，但是同时我也觉得不能偏离现实，因为现实里面不是都那么美好，所以我觉得说，呃呃，要先翻。
So I want the ending to have hope, and because I know the reality, it's not so pretty.
对，所以结局就是虽然就是未来感觉还是会有很多的困难，但是呢，我觉得就是只要在这个路上，然后有彼此有陪伴，然后有那个理解的话，那这些困难是可以被克服的。
So even though, so the ending is even though there are still obstacles in the future, but they're people they work together, they accompany each other, so there's still hope.
Part of that hope really, to me, feels like or comes from their formation of a new family, sort of a new kind of a family unit. So much of the personal pressure that all of them seem to deal with comes immediately from the family. And then, of course, there's this societal pressure. But this is not the first. We're showing two of your films in this series because 10 Years Taiwan is a film that we're playing on the last weekend. It's a compendium of short films, and one of your shorts is in there. It's sort of a 10 years in the future. But your film your short film in 10 Years Time also deals about family in the sense that it's a commercial for frozen dumplings, and they want to create the perfect Taiwanese family for the commercial, but they can't find a baby. And I don't want to give it away too much, but it's about the panic, about how we get this perfect. So family seems very important in this feature film and in the short film, which I highly encourage you to come see. But it's a new type of family. This need to create a new type of family. Was that something you were thinking? I mean, what is your? I mean, in terms of this theme of family, where did that emerge in the writing of the script or the idea for the story?
其实我一开始写这个剧本，很开始是想要跟家人沟通的，因为我小时候是胖胖的，就是肉肉的啦，没有到超级胖，但是就不是一个瘦子这样。
So when I first started writing the script, it's actually I wanted to use the script to try to communicate with my family because when I was a kid, it was actually kind of chubby, not really overweight, but kind of chubby.
然后就是爸爸妈妈他们会取绰号，就可能就叫我就 chubby，就是。
So they gave me a nickname like chubby.
那我知道他们是爱我的，但是听起来是其实会蛮伤心的。
So even though I knew they love me, but still, like when I heard they call me that name, it's still kind of hurtful.
然后我觉得在台湾，大家很习惯用身材去问候别人，就是可能见面第一句话就是，哎，你又变胖了或变瘦了。
So in Taiwan, a lot of people like to greet to kind of with your appearance, for example, like, oh, you have gained some weight, or oh, you just lost some weight.
然后对，这是一个很奇怪的现象。然后大家都没有恶意，但是都就是很习惯这样子，所以我会想要用一个电影的方式呈现说，你讲的这些话，你看起来好像无伤大雅，但其实你一点一点都会 在那个就是被听到人心里会造成很大的伤害。
So when people said that in Taiwan, they don't mean to hurt people, but still, like when you hear it, it's not really pleasant to take it. So I'm trying to use this film to send a message.
But it doesn't feel like a message film. It feels very personal and very realistic. A big part of that comes from the performance from your lead actress. Can you talk about where did you discover her, and what was working with her like in terms of getting the performance, which is so extraordinary?
我是在一个短片看到她的表演，蔡佳音，然后她非常的就我马上就被她的表演给吸引了。
So I saw Cai Jiaying, the main female character, from another short film. So when I first saw her performance, I was really attracted by her performance.
因为我们有时候看就是胖胖的演员，有时候在荧幕上，因为那个题材的关系，他们可能必须要去演一个好笑或者是笨手笨脚的角色。但我看到他的时候，他就是做他自己，非常非常的自然。
So a lot of time when we see actors, actresses, they're a little bit overweight. They usually their role are kind of like in comedy, comical, and then or kind of clumsy. But when I saw her, and she was just being natural, being herself.
所以我就找到他，然后开始跟他聊这个剧本。那也把他的一些个人经验也带进来，例如说他本身他以前就是篮球员。所以他篮球是很厉害的。
So I found her and I start communicate with her with the script, and I found out that she was actually a basketball player, so she's really athletic.
所以这也就是有打破一点刻板印象，就是我们觉得胖子一定就是运动不好，就不一定是这个样子的。
So that kind of broke the stereotype. We will always think like, oh, people are overweight, they're not athletic, but it's not really true.
Well, she's extraordinarily athletic in the sort of nightmare sequence at the end of the film, which is really ferocious and really amazing. I want to turn it over to the audience if we have any questions. There'll be mics on either side, so just raise your hand. I'll call on you. We'll bring you a mic. While everyone thinks of a question, I do want to talk about color and your use of color in this film. Particularly the sequence, the nightmare sequence. The film goes to some very dark places. But you always maintain this really bright color, palette throughout the film, which to me feels like it's particularly in the short film 10 Years Taiwan, so there feels to be like an aesthetic, a personal aesthetic, but it also seems to be very much part of your commentary on Taiwanese society itself, a kind of a surface level, maybe brightness or happiness, but there's a lot sort of dark underneath. Is that a misreading of that aesthetic? I'm just curious the relationship between the colors in the film, which are really bright, and the themes, which are running a little darker.
我是蛮喜欢在影片里面用一些比较鲜艳的色彩，因为我觉得电影它作为一个虚构的媒体，我喜欢它跟现实有一点距离。那你可以观众可以在一个安全的地方看，就是视觉上是有娱乐效果的，那你同时也知道这个不是现实，所以我喜欢那个跟现实有一点差距的。
So yes, I like to use very vibrant color in my film because I think film as a medium, it's fictional. So I like to to keep a little bit distance from my medium and the audience.
还有就是跟现实的一些差别。
And the distance between the reality and the story.
我觉得这样会更好消化，就是当你在看一个故事的时候。
So I think for the audience, it's easier to digest. So when you watch a story, it's easier for the audience.
Any questions from the audience? Let's go right here. I'll bring you a mic.
Hello. Okay, it's just a quick question. I'm just curious, why isn't the father figure also in the family? Like, maybe that will also change the dynamic of like the psychology of the main character. I'm just curious, like, why you made that choice of leaving the father out.
为什么没有父亲的这个角色？我有点忘记。
can't really remember.
这是一个蛮直觉的选择。那我觉得这个我想要更专心在这个母女的关系，因为我们在里面看到这个妈妈的角色，她其实代表的是上一代我们对一个新女性觉得新女性应该有的样子，就是很能干，然后很身材保持得很好，然后什么都做得很好，这样。
I think the choice I made, it's very just instinct, spontaneous. I want to focus on the relationship between the mother and daughter. And the mother, as you can see in the film, she's like the new modern female mother, the role of a mom. She's modern, she's fit and everything.
对，这是上一代对新女性的定义。
But that's from the last generation, how people kind of put that, the new modern mom, they're supposed to look like that.
对，但是我们对新一代的新女性的解读，反而好像更开始是大家应该要知道，就是忠于自己啊，做自己这样。
But I think in our generation, the new generation, I think people can be more honest to themselves.
对，就两代之间的对新女性的一个对比这样子。
So you can see the contrast between the two generations.
Okay, any other audience questions? Okay, I have one more question and then we have to go to the airport. Brian mentioned two things. One, I completely agree with, because between the feature film and the short film, I think you guys are seeing a new filmmaker with a very strong voice, and I'm really excited to be opening our series with us because your vision seems very clear and very strong in both the films I've seen of yours so far. But the other question that I need a little bit more education on or schooling on is, he talked about the Taiwanese comedy and a particular type of Taiwanese comedy. Do you feel like you were working within a particular tradition, and did you feel the constraints of that tradition, or did you feel like you were trying to break that tradition a little bit here?
其实我也不太知道台湾的 comedy 应该是什么样子哎。
I don't really know what comedy in Taiwan is supposed to look like.
但我猜也许从我的背景就是很自然的吸收了我看的所有电影以后，就变成了呈现是这个样子。
But I guess from my background, from what I have absorbed before, and then now it kind of transformed to what you guys have seen. But can I add something? I think this film is so different. I've never seen any like comedy type of film from Taiwan look like this. The typical Taiwan comedy, it's very raw and direct. It's not like this.
Well, I would say I've seen, particularly, working on the Biennial the last two editions, very broad comedy, like very, a lot of physical humor, a lot of broad joking about, it's interesting because stereotypes do play a big part in that kind of comedy, which you can see in American comedy, Hollywood comedy. That's every national cinema has a sort of like, set of stereotypes that we play comic versions of. And yeah, I do feel like this film is playing against a lot of those stereotypes. So were you concerned when you were putting the script together? Oh, maybe I shouldn't buck the trend so much? Or, the vision is really strong. So I'm just concerned if you had any sort of anxieties about, this new sort of, your new take on this comic formula.
我应该是有试着晚一点，例如说，可能布丁的时候，你们看到可能第一眼看到可能就想说啊，胖子很多布丁，但是后面就发现啊，它其实背后是有其他原因的。
I think I did try to play something in the script. For example, in the beginning, the supermarket, when the main character, the girl, was trying to buy all those pudding. So when you see that, you would think, oh, maybe she's, trying to get all this pudding. But but then later on, you found out the story. There's actually another layer.
Right. You sort of peel those layers back over the course of the film. Well, again, I want to thank everyone for coming. I really want to thank you for being here. Thank you very much. It was really an honor to have open the series with your film. So thank you very much.